प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवेति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः। आविद्यकं शरीरादि दृश्यं बुद्बुदमक्षरम् एतद्विलक्षणं विद्यादहं ब्रह्मेति निर्मलम् देहान्यत्वान्न मे जन्म जराकाशलयादयः शब्दादिविषयैः सङ्गो निरिन्द्रियतया न च अमनस्त्वान्न मे दुःख रागद्वेषभयादयः अप्राणो ह्यमनः शुभ्रः इत्यादिश्रुतिशासनात् निर्गुणो निष्क्रियो नित्यो निर्विकल्पो निरञ्जनः निर्विकारो निराकारो नित्यमुक्तोऽस्मि निर्मलः अहमाकाशवत् सर्वम् बहिरन्तर्गतोऽच्युतः सदा सर्वसमसिद्धो निस्सङ्गो निर्मलोऽचलः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तैकम् अखण्डानन्दमद्वयम् सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं यत् परं ब्रह्माहमेव तत् एवं निरन्तराभ्यस्तात् ब्रह्मैवास्मीति वासना हरत्यविद्याविक्षेपान् रोगानिवरसायनम् विविक्तदेशासीनो विरागो विजितेन्द्रियः भावयेदेकमात्मानं तमनन्तमनन्यधीः आत्मन्येवाखिलं दृश्यम् प्रविलाप्य धिया सुधीः भावयेदेकमात्मानं निर्मलाकाशवत् सदा रूपवर्णादिकं सर्वं विहाय परमार्थवेत् परिपूर्णचिदानन्द स्वरूपेणावतिष्ठते।
मूषिकवाहन मोदकहस्त चामरकर्ण विलंबित सूत्र वामन रूप महेश्वर पुत्र विघ्न विनायक पाद नमस्ते. On the eve of the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, we bow down our heads in unison to the Supreme Lord of Lords, Lord Ganesha, who is the remover of all obstacles. Lord Ganesha has various names. In fact, all gods has various names. There are Sahasranama for many gods. Sahasranama means 1,000 names. But Ganesha's various names are also very popular and more common. He is called as Ganesha because he is Lord of beings. Gana means number, multitude of beings. He is the Lord. He is also called as Vinayaka. Nayaka means Lord or leader. Vinayaka means one who has no leader. That means he is the supreme leader. is the Lord of Lords. Vigneshwara means that one who removes all the obstacles and gives us success. That is why he is also called as Siddhi Vinayaka. His wife is also called Siddhi Vinayaka. There is one of the most beautiful ways of explanation of Lord Ganesha is the symbolism of how Lord Ganesha not only represents the supreme perfection, the state of supreme perfection, but also shows the path towards reaching the same. This is elaborately explained by Swamiji in the first chapter of the book God Symbolism, which I would say is essential for all. But before we get into that symbolism, a word of caution. Symbolism must be understood over and above what you have a feeling towards gods. We have in Hinduism various festivals, rituals, mantras, and various forms of gods and goddesses. All these represent a very great wealth of knowledge they give us. But from Vedantic point of view, they also represent the highest truth given in the Upanishads. But it should not be understood merely at the intellectual level to represent that. It should be experienced at all levels. Having understood, let us say, the symbolism of Lord Ganesha, you must not take him part by part and view him just what he represents. You must be able to have devotion for the whole, the Supreme Lord that Ganesha represents, and also appreciate what the symbolism means. Then it gives a full sort of a flavor to the worship, full flavor to our contemplation and reflection also. Even if you don't know the symbolism, it does not matter. The devotional aspect should not go away. You must have that thought of reality behind that worship at all points of time. But if you know the symbolism, it adds really flavor to it. As I said, it is up to each person's way of worship or how he is able to take it. But it has got a deep significance. There is no doubt about it independently. So that is how we should approach symbolism. Not merely look at it only from symbolic point of view. If we do that, there is a risk of negating the actual thing as it is. See, we said during the Mahabharata talk also, if you are able to appreciate the greatness of Draupadi as she was, her bhakti, her pativrata status, everything, only then you will be able to have a feeling towards what she was doing. And then what she did and how Krishna helped, that has a additional value of symbolism by itself. But you cannot say it is merely symbolism, actually it didn't happen. Then we lose the essence of it. Exactly like that we should approach the symbolism of our gods and goddesses also. Ganesha is a very peculiar god with a big head of the elephant. Two big ears, small but sharp eyes, a trunk that protrudes out and two tusks that are there, one half broken. And then you see that as like all gods, he has got 4 hands. The 4 hands carry 4 different things. It has got a rope, it has got an axe, it has got a lotus and a sweet, usually modaka or laddu, that he carries in the hand. Ganesha is picturized to have a very big belly. Stomach is very big. And like many gods, he is seated with one leg folded up and another leg is there down. This is the picture of Ganesha. And in front of him, various types of sweets are laid out. And a rat is there. It is having a sweet in the hand and it is looking up to Lord Ganesha for permission, as it were, to eat the sweet. This is the picture. There could be little variants here or there, but mostly this is the common picture of Ganesha that we have. What does this represent? As I said, this represents the man of perfection or picture of a perfect state, which is self-realization or God realization. But very interestingly, it also shows us how to reach there. So, in order to reach that state, we have been studying the Atma Bodha, where it says the ultimate knowledge of self is gained only through the process of awakening, through awareness, of removal of ignorance. Ignorance is removed in 3 stages. It is called as Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. Shravana means listening, which removes the face of ignorance of I don't know. Manana removes the face of ignorance, which is reflection, which removes the face of ignorance that I don't understand. And then Nididhyasana is meditation, which removes the face of ignorance, which is I don't experience. So this is the face which is given in the Upanishads, which is the traditional way. So Shravana is the most important thing first. So we need to listen to the masters. Though we can include reading of the books in the present day context, there is no substitute for listening. With listening, you are able to absorb the knowledge inside. So 2 big ears of Ganesha represent that you must listen more and more. And though it is small, the eyes are very sharp. That means you are also keenly observant of the surroundings, you are keenly observant of the world. Only then what develops from you is a intellect. Intellect is born out of that wisdom. Ganesha's trunk represents the intellect. Elephant's trunk has a very peculiar quality. It is very strong, it is very flexible. It can uproot a tree or pull a big log of wood also, lift somebody very easily. That is its strength. But it is also very subtle that it can pick up a needle or a coin from the ground if it has fallen. Such a sort of talent it has. So the intellect that we have is also twofold. It is gross and subtle. Gross and subtle intellect are functionally different. Though the function seems to be the same, the area of operation is different. When you use the discrimination of the intellect to discriminate between couple of things in the world, it is called gross intellect. The grossest form is when we attribute intellect to animals and say that animal can distinguish between a master and a stranger, or food and a dirt. That is the very basic form of discrimination, where they do it to lead their life based on basic instincts. That differentiation is also, you can include it within the ambit of the intellect and tell the very minute operations or calculations given by Newton, Einstein and great mathematicians and scientists. All those calculations also fall under the realm of the world. So those calculations are also done using what is known as gross intellect. Gross intellect can be developed. It is helping you to take decisions in the world. This is important. More important is the subtle intellect. Subtle intellect is when you are able to posit something beyond the world. You may not be able to exactly capture it because God cannot be captured. But you can ask the question, is there something beyond the world? That query, that possibility to enter into the unknown area, that is the process or the aim of subtle intellect. That's the purpose of subtle intellect. Even an atheist who says there is no God has subtle intellect. He can conceive something beyond the world and dismiss it. A theist accepts it. Both have subtle intellect. So, this subtle intellect is usually, we say that it is uncovered, it is unraveled, as and when your desires go down and your thoughts to the Supreme, that thought is kindled, it slowly opens up your personality to the Supreme Self. That is why we have this invocatory prayer before the class. All are expected to come before to keep their mind calm. This Shanti mantra of the Upanishads also, it calms the mind and then it changes the gear from gross intellect to subtle intellect. When you change the gear, you need to press the clutch. That is this Shanti mantra. So the purpose is twofold. It calms your mind and it subtilizes the intellect. So the trunk of Lord Ganesha represents the intellect, which is born out of the wisdom, which is born out of lot of hearing and reflection. And then you have the tusks. The tusk is, one is there full, one is there half broken. There are various stories behind the breakage also, that Ganesha used it to kill a Asura, Mukasura by name, I think. So he uses this as the weapon. He broke it. That is a story. Again, to write Mahabharata, he wrote the tusk. That is another story. In either case, we see that his tusk is broken. It represents that such a man of perfection is beyond the pairs of opposite. Usually, male elephant has a full grown tusk. Female may have a tusk, but it is very small. It is like a very small thing. So, like that, the half tusk represents that. So, he is beyond male and female, representing that he is beyond all the pairs of opposites in the world. The world presents us with the pairs of opposites. So, therefore, what is the path? The path is that how you keep yourself calm when the pairs of opposites visit you. Heat and cold, they will come. Business means profit and loss will come. Loss means it can be a shortage of profit is also considered loss by the businessman. It may not be the same profit every time, or it keeps on increasing. There could be a decrease. So it is considered loss vis-a-vis the previous year. It will come. Heat and cold will be there. Summer and winter will be there. Somebody will honor you, somebody will dishonor you. That will be there. How do you maintain your equilibrium or equipoise in and through all these things? That is what is objectivity all about. So Ganesha's trunk represents that you need to maintain your equipoise in and through the various pairs of opposites that visit you, and ultimate man of perfection is beyond all pairs of opposites also. So such is the face of Ganesha that it represents. His four arms, again, like all gods have four arms, it represents the four Antakarana. Antakarana means the four aspects of the human personality which is used for our spiritual evolution. Karana means instrument. Instrument means mind and other aspects of our subtle body is instrument. Instrument means you must use the instrument according to your will. You must not become an instrument in the hands of your mind. That is why it is called as Karana. Since you cannot picturize it, all God show it as four hands. Mano, Buddhi, Chit and Ahankar. And each and every god has certain things that they carry in those four hands. Ganesha carries an axe which represents the destruction of desires. When you surrender unto the Supreme, the thought of the Supreme, you are able to annihilate the lower desires. That surrender also means that he is helping you to release yourself from the bondage. He has the rope in the hand which helps you to release. It's interesting. Rope actually represents bondage. In fact, if you bind yourselves to the higher, then only you can release yourself from the lower. An interesting parallel is there. I think Paramacharya says, the karma that the Shastra tells us to follow, it is tough, at least tough in the beginning. It has got various restrictions, niyama, you have to do various things. It is like a bitter pill, at least in the beginning. It is not very easy to follow. You have to do this puja, you have to study, you have to reflect, you have to get up, do yoga. It is slightly difficult. Why that medicine is given to you? Because you have indulged and spoiled your body, maybe eating more sweets and not doing exercises, like that it is. So since your body is out of shape, to bring it back, you need the discipline. So it has to be done. But then, to release myself out of karma, you are now giving me more karma. How is this karma going to really release me? What happens if I get bound in this karma? This is a genuine question that you may ask. So, he gives the example of a woodcutter. He brings logs of wood that are cut in the forest. He has to carry them on his head, and it is a big bundle. He has to walk a long way. Along the way, the bundle should not open, and he cannot gather it every time. It gets scattered. It's not possible for him to again and again pick up like that. So he has to bundle it in such a way that it is very tight. So what they do is, one or two, we do not know. He uses all his strength to tie with a rope. And these ropes are very strong ropes. Once it ties, it is as though you cannot untie that knot. Like that, they make it very tight because the journey is very important that it should not fall down. Like you pack something from here and you are shifting and you go to Chennai or Bombay, till the time it gets opened there, let me pack it very tightly. It does not matter if I break the package there, that is the cover, but my product should be safe on the way. This is the intention. Like that he takes. When he brings it home, it is so tight that he cannot open it because it's so tight. So you know what they do? You cannot afford to cut the rope because rope is not something you can afford. He can afford to make new ropes every time. And not only that, the ropes get seasoned and they become very strong as you use it also beyond a point. After a point, it becomes weaker also. That's different. So you cannot afford to cut the rope anyway. You take that for granted. Then how do you release the knot? Anybody?
You take one lock or take out a lock.
That is what. It is very tight. Let us say you cannot take it out.
Tighten it a little more.
Sorry?
You try to tighten it a little more.
How?
Using another rope.
Correct. You have to use another rope. Very near to this you have to do it. And maybe two persons holds it tight. Here it is not tying the knot, but hold it from both the ends and tighten it even further. You tighten it so much that the earlier rope becomes slightly loose at that point of time. You can untie the knot. Then once you release it, both the ropes gets released. This is how it works. The Shastra Karma seems to bind you and bind you very tightly, but it is actually meant to liberate you. It is not actually a bondage. Probably we can take this as the role of Ganesha. You surrender unto him, he will release you of all bondage with the rope that he has. He has that knack, he has the technique. Lotus, like in all examples, represents the reality. The supreme reality, the self in you, is always represented by the full-blown lotus. And then the modak represents that when you are on the spiritual path, everything gets added onto you, even materially in the world, whatever you seek or whatever you deserve will come onto you. You can gather it, enjoy it as his prasad and go along, but your focus is finally that lotus. This is what it represents. Ganesha sits, his pot belly is a big stomach, represents that such a person can digest all experiences. Nothing can really affect him at all. He is able to swallow everything and not get affected. There is a story, I think it's given in the Symbolism book also, that Lord Kubera sort of throws up a party and he invites everybody. Ganesha single-handedly finishes off all the delicacies that are laid out there and still he is not satisfied. So he goes to the extent of eating the other things that are there, like the decorations and other things. Kubera is helpless, he doesn't know what to do. Lord Shiva comes there and finally he offers Ganesha a handful of roasted grains. So Ganesha eats that and he feels satisfied. This is the story. What it means, Kubera being the Lord of wealth represents that if you keep on trying to satisfy your appetite by going and consuming the material objects of the world, you can never get satisfied and that pursuit turns ugly, as it were. How do you then get satisfied? The ultimate satisfaction comes in rising above desires, not fulfillment of desires. So actually fulfillment of all desires is when you reach the supreme, which is rising above all desires. The roasted grains represent that the actions that are burnt, which is the vasanas that are burnt, they don't germinate again, they don't get you back into the karma again, that is consumed and finally all the vasanas are consumed. This is what it means. And Ganesha sitting with one leg on the ground, another leg up, represents that a man of perfection, though he is participating in the worldly activities, he is ever rooted in the self. Again representing objectivity, that you must be rooted in divinity even as you do your worldly duties and functions. That is the way. So one leg up and one leg down. This is what even some other gods and goddesses show this posture. In front of such a person, all the sweets are laid out. So, such a person who has risen above all the desires, the objects of desires seek him. It's like shadow run behind a person who runs towards the sunlight. If you chase the shadow, they recede away from you. If you want to catch the shadow, you have to turn back and it will follow you. You catch your head, it gets caught. Like that it is. Similarly, if you pursue the higher, the lower gets added onto you. Ganesha's mount or vehicle is rat. Very beautiful symbolism. It also represents rat is one thing. In one way, it has no discrimination. It will go to poor's home, rich man's home, everywhere it goes, but it sort of messes up the things there. That is the nature of rat. So rat represents desire. That way it is equal to all. Everybody has their own sets of desires, but it messes up that personality. How it messes up? A rat is sort of a very greedy animal. You let loose a rat in the godown, it will open up certain sack. It can be a sack of rice or a grain. It takes and hoards certain thing, but then it forgets what he has hoarded and goes and spoils the other sack. It cuts open the other thing and gnaws there. Like that, this mind keeps on desiring some object, and then even if you get that, you are not able to enjoy it fully. You forget it and then go for another object of desire. Just as a child will say, I want this toy. Before you even purchase and play with the toy, child says, no, that one, this one. Like that, how the mind oscillates. This is exactly the nature of everybody's mind. Such a mind, which is represented by the rat, is under full control. So it is taking a sweet and looking up to Ganesha to seek his permission to eat the sweet. So a person who has desire must have it under full control and in such a way that intellect must sanction, and only then you must be able to go ahead with the experience of it. It is not to frustrate your desire, but it is just that it is not indiscriminately at the mercy of the mind that you do all your experiences. You go through the experience after the sanction of intellect, there is no harm in it as such. So, rat looking up to Ganesha represents this particular control aspect of a human being. This is actually the symbolism. Also, Ganesha carries this moon on the head. If you find some pictures, it will be there. There is a curse given to moon god by Ganesha, as it were. Ganesh, the birthday or the Jayanti falls on the Chaturthi, right? We call it Ganesh Chaturthi. Chaturthi means fourth day after the Amavasya. That crescent is not actually good to see. This is what our belief is. Don't ask me why. That is why the stories are given, and it is very interesting. You try to spot. It is said that the third day crescent moon is holy to watch, but it is usually not visible at all. You try after next Amavasya, you remember this and try to spot. It is not. But fourth day moon is very clearly visible, which you are not supposed to see. Is what is the story that is given. But what is the significance of the story? It is said that Ganesha, with his sort of a big, huge body, travels on a small rat. It may appear funny, and there is enough scope in our Hinduism to have fun and games with God. You can play. It is said that Tenali Rama, who was a great jester in the court of Krishnadevaraya, he was born as a very stupid person, very ignorant person. He used to sit on the edge of the branch and then cut the root of that base of the branch. So he will also fall down. To that extent also he cannot think. He is said to be like that. And he turned out to be a very smart person by the grace of goddess Kali. So his mother and his wife also encouraged him to worship Kali, and he worshipped. It is said that Kali appeared in a very fierce form with 100 faces or 1,000 faces, like that she appeared. For a moment he was taken aback, and next moment he started laughing aloud. She got annoyed and said, "Why are you laughing?" So he said, "I'm just thinking we humans get this common cold, and then we can't deal with one nose. How are you able to do it with 1,000 noses?" So the goddess also laughed. So what it means is, even the fiercest form, you are able to have fun. But what you must not what you must remember is, we cannot have a vulgarity in that fun. You must not have, this is part and parcel. God is not a very angry God who is going to curse you, like that it is. But if you are doing it out of your own impulse, and if you are doing it out of your own ignorance, plus your egoistic notion of supremacy or something, then you are incurring the wrath of the other person. It will come back to you as a curse based on the effect of your own karma. That's all it is. So when Ganesha was riding on this mouse, this rat, it looks funny. And Ganesha, this was looked by Lord Moon God, Chandra, and he began to laugh aloud, and in a very, very demeaning way. So the curse was given. It is said that either Moon God will, 15 days he will go into nothing and he'll come back, either that story, or if you see a Moon God on Chaturthi day, it is not good. That story can be linked to. Now, what is the significance? See, the man of perfection who is a self-realized master, he is actually infinite, which is trying to function through the finite body, mind and intellect. Obviously, there will be mismatch in the expression. In fact, when Swami Ramatirtha was in America, the psychologists there could not understand how such a free-spirited soul is still living in the body. It is just that his body cannot contain, that is the spirit of it. And like that it is. And when they try to express themselves, when they try to teach others, when they try to give the message, there will be something which may seem abnormal. You can go along the straight, but you can never afford to make fun of it. You can never afford to make loose comments about it. If you do that, you are incurring curse upon yourself. So that is why even when we studied about agami karma and all, it says a self-realized master has no karma, but the future karma that is going to accrue to him, who will get the effects of it? One who praises him, one who surrenders unto him, he will get the punya. One who ridicules him, he will get the papa of it. So why you want to unnecessarily incur that? So any great master, you have to respect him for what he is, because what he is inside is infinity. What he is outside can be in any form. So this is representative of the relationship with Lord Moon and Lord Ganesha. And it is very interesting that Lord Ganesha is invoked by each and every person before they start any activity, spiritual or material. You start a factory, you want to write a book, you want to start a class, or you want to do any puja, first is Ganesh puja. When you start Deepavali, that's also Ganesh puja is there. When you start Krishna Jayanti or anything, Vishnu Sahasranama, you say first sloka is Shuklam Bhardaram Vishnu Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam. That sloka comes. So Ganesha is invoked, and there are various stories in our various Puranas and Itihasa that you will find all gods have something or the other to deal with Lord Ganesha. Whenever they are in trouble, they invoke him, get his blessings and have success in their pursuit. Lord Kartikeya marries his sweetheart Valli. Finally, he calls Lord Ganesha only for help. He comes in the form of elephant there. In the Devi Mahatmyam, it is said that Durga also, before she finally vanquishes Mahishasura and his army, there is a phase where she gets a obstacle. Again, Lord Ganesha helps her to overcome. Shiva, Vishnu, Krishna also has a story. You will find nowhere you will find in any story, at least as far as the knowledge we know, that Ganesha is in any way defeated by any other god in any form or the other. It's very interesting. So it says, but his worship is very simple. That is what it is. Worship of Ganesha, though there are certain vidhi and all given also, but you can just invoke Ganesha in a stone or a piece of clay that you say that this is Ganesha means that's Ganesha. That's why it's very simple. His mount is rat. And what is that you offer? It's not any fancy flower or anything. That grass which is commonly available. He's very satisfied by that, Lord Ganesha. And he is able to give you anything. That's why if you want to climb on the top of the elephant, you have to catch hold of the legs. Then it puts you even above itself. Like that is Lord Ganesha. Simple things that you do, he is extremely satisfied about it. And In South India, when they make this snacks with rice flour and other things, they fry certain items and do muruku and other things. Before that, they make a Lord Ganesha out of the rice flour only in the kitchen, so that particular act there must not be any obstacle, and he is there. Like that it is. It is very simple, and the simplicity of Ganesha was invoked even by great freedom fighters like Bala Gangadhara Tilak, who belonged to Maharashtra, where Ganesha is supremely worshipped in a very, very big way. He used Ganesh Chaturthi as the means to mobilize people for freedom fight, to create that awareness also. But he is a very, very simple God, and his way of worship is very simple. Simplicity is one aspect of Lord Ganesha. Universality. Universality means Lord Ganesha is worshipped even beyond the shores of India. It's there everywhere. Any temple that you go, here also in this Radha Krishna Mandir is the main Murti, but there will be a Ganesha here also. And you will find in Japan, in Indonesia, in Sri Lanka, Burma, everywhere there is a Ganesha worship that is there. We do not know whether it is indigenous there or it went from here, but there is there everywhere. So there is a universality or a Catholicity of the worship of Lord Ganesha. Third aspect is like Lord Krishna, he is very cute, and even a child can play with him like a Bal Ganesh. You can make a cartoon, you can have a very simple picture of Ganesha and relate with him in that way also. So there is a simplicity aspect, there is universality of his worship, and then there is a friendliness that is attached to Lord Ganesha there. As I said, Lord Ganesha must not be looked at only from symbolism point of view. He must be understood as the totality or supreme. When we grew up in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, we are taught this just as in English A, B, C, D, in Indian languages A, E, like that it comes. And in English we are taught A for apple and B for biscuit, whatever, bus. But in Tamil, I do not know now, because even in our times, whether it was in school, I do not know, but at least in our homes we were taught. There was a great poetess who was a spiritual person called Avvaiyar. She was a great devotee of Lord Ganesha. She wrote wealth of literature, particularly for children also. So very simply, she gave all the Niti and Shastra and everything for children to understand in a very simple way. So it starts with A for Aram Sayya Virumbu, Aruvadu Sinam, Iyalvadu Karave, like that it goes. So as you study that, you are learning the alphabets also, but very wealth of knowledge is also there. It is a very interesting and inspiring story that she was so devoted to Lord Ganesha, and she wanted to dedicate her life to spiritual journey, that when she approached her youth, the family was pressurizing her to get married. So she prayed to Lord Ganesha, and the story is Lord Ganesha appeared, and she asked only one boon, that give me old age. Nobody can even think of, she said, and it was granted. And with old age as her permanent thing, she traveled all over, and she was able to impart knowledge to everybody. Like that her story goes. So in Maharashtra, Ganesha is very important. In Tamil Nadu, Lord Kartikeya is very important. But you will find that each and every nook and corner of every street, there will be Ganesha. It's a sentiment that wherever, suppose you have a compound wall and in front of it a road goes, you have to have a Ganesha there, so that there is no harm to your house. Like that, there is a sentiment. Even in Madras, you will find that small Ganesha will be there. Every, what you call the tree, giant fig tree, people, you will find that one Ganesha is sitting there in the basement there. Or a pond, wherever is there, he is there. In every temple, in the beginning, he is there. So you will find that all parts of India and all over the world, there is invocation of Lord Ganesha. So on the eve of Ganesh Chaturthi, We invoke the blessings of Lord Ganesha so that he makes all our dharmic pursuits of us individually and collectively of our nation successful. This is Lord Ganesha symbolism. Verse 34 says, I am without attributes and actions, eternal, without doubts, unsullied, changeless, formless, ever free and pure. Nirguna, we saw in the last class, is without any gunas or qualities which represents the gunas are coming from the prakriti nature of it. I am beyond all the gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas don't belong to me, or I don't belong to them. Nishkriya, I am without any action. It's absolutely a stable entity without any action. Nitya is eternal. It is there at all points of time. It is beyond all experiences. It is there at all times, including your waking, dream, deep sleep, all points of time it is there. Nirvikalpa. Nirvikalpa means without any doubt. Mind is the seat of Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Sankalpa means I want to do it, Vikalpa means I don't want, so doubtful. So this is the oscillating nature of the mind. So all these tendencies belong to the mind, it does not belong to me. I am Nirvikalpa, I have no doubts or indecisions. Niranjanaha. Niranjanaha means unsullied. There is no stain. There is no mark left. It means that it is beyond the causal body. Nirvikalpa represents that it is beyond the subtle body. Niranjanaha represents that it is beyond the causal body. Nirvikara. Nirvikara means changeless. To observe all the change, there has to be a changeless entity there within us. So you see that your body is changing, you see that your mind is changing, intellect obviously is also changing. Though the change is not as fast as the body and mind, it is also changing. Your ideas and ideologies will change. You can be a socialist in ideology, or later you can be a capitalist, later you can be some otherist. All these are ideologies of the intellect that will change. But who is noticing this change? From which standpoint are you noticing this change? The changeless entity in you is Nirvikara. So it is that anvil upon which all the shapes can be molded and made, but that itself does not undergo any change. Nirvikara. Nirakara. Nirakara means formless. Anything that has a form must have a boundary. The self is without boundary. So how can you even imagine a form for this? Not possible. I am that supreme self which is no forms. Nirvikara. It is talking about the state of Nirguna Brahman here. Nirakara. It is another matter that you can conceive Brahman with a form and you can make it an object of your worship. That is different. Here he is talking about that assertion and negation where you are asserting that I am the supreme self. I am the supreme self. You cannot assert that I am the Ishvara or something like that. You can only assert that I am that supreme Brahman. That supreme Brahman is without any form. Nitya Muktaha. Nitya Muktaha means ever liberated, free. The body, mind and intellect are dependent upon the self. The self is not dependent upon them. It is independent. See, the sun is ever free. The reflected sun in a pond seems to be restricted to the pond. The reflected sun in a glass of water seems to be restricted there. But the sun is never restricted. It is ever free. The self in you, though you appear to be bound now, is actually free. It is not that you are going to become free. You are actually free now. It is your delusion that you believe yourself to be bound. It is not bound at all. It's like that donkey story where the donkey thought it was bound. It was never bound. He only made an action that he is tying in a rope, but the donkey thought that he is bound, and he never moved from there. Like that it is. Again, he has to untie that knot to make that donkey go again. It is a.
Really happened.
It has happened. You see, you have to give that. Either you have to give that benefit of doubt to that intelligent person who did it. It is, but there are. See, recently I saw a video. Certain cows are crossing the road, and in the road there is a divider. That white line. The cow is coming and jumping over the line and going like that. All the cows are jumping and going. Why is this? It is that it is not to have a comparison or demean the animals, but that's how it is. So if they are trained in such a way, a elephant for that matter, when it is tied to a small rope, when it is young, it is there. And the same small rope, it is not able to think and break free from it, though it has 100 times more power. It is bound like that. So it is happening like that only. So it is like that we believe that we are bound. So in this aspect, we are equal to that. We are believing that we are bound, but actually we are Nitya Mukta, ever liberated, ever free. Nirmala, pure. Again, a thing is said to be pure when nothing else is there apart from it in it. So there is no chance of any object apart from the self in the self. It is Nirmala. All this he says Asmi. Nitya Muktosmi Nirmala. Asmi means I am. This is the assertion. Always allowed you say this and assert yourself that I am Nirgunaha, Nishkriya, Nitya, Nirvikalpo, Nirakaro, Niranjanaha. All these things you have to assert to yourself to say that I am this self. I am not the matter that I am made up of. I reject all the other vestures that is enveloping me. I am that supreme self. Yes, sir.
I'm not very clear about the distinction between Niranjanaha and Nirmala.
See,
Inside pure, outside pure, something like that.
it is many of the things, many of the words are either connected or overlapping also sometimes. And repetition also comes, which you can look at it from different angles also. As I said, Niranjana, which is unsullied, which is to say, one is to say that one is pure, one is to say that there is no dirt. It can be two angles of the same thing. But when you talk about Niranjana, we say that it is beyond the causal body or the vasanas where there is no stain in it at all. And Nirmala, you say that it is pure by itself. There is nothing in it apart from it. So you have to look at it from two angles. It's the same. I am without attributes and actions, eternal, without doubts, unsullied, changeless, formless, ever free and pure. We'll chant verse 35.
अहमाकाशवत् सर्वम् बहिरन्तर्गतोऽच्युतः सदा सर्वसमसिद्धो निस्सङ्गो निर्मलोऽचलः.
Like space, I pervade everything inside and outside. Never fallen, same in all. I am eternal, unattached, pure and motionless. Akashavat. Vat means like. Akashavat means like Akash, like space. So when he says I am like space, obviously it means that space is taken here as an example to convey something. Self is beyond space. Space is given a creation in our Upanishadic statements, so it has a dissolution also. Space is limited in that sense. Space is not there in deep sleep, self is there in deep sleep. Space, time and causation do not form part of your deep sleep, they are all functions of your intellect. We said in the previous Nitya that time is your intellectual concept. Space is also an intellectual concept. Space is measured when there are 2 points. You cannot see space. You cannot feel space. In the night sky also, when you look out, you are not looking at space. You are looking at darkness, or you are looking at a moon which is far away, or some star. In between what it is, you cannot really see. Space is something which cannot be seen. But space can be experienced. When you walk, something gives way, right? If there was no space, how can you even move your hand or move yourself? So there is a understanding or feeling of space in that way. Space example gives couple of points of comparison to self. Space is all pervading. All pervading means there is no space where it is not there. Space is there everywhere. Exactly like that, self is there everywhere. So it pervades even the space. It pervades deep sleep also. It pervades your waking and dream state. Everything that you can conceive of is pervaded by the self. Pervasive. That is why he says, Bahirantargatochyutaha. Inside, outside, everything is covered by space. This inside, outside, how does this concept come? Inside and outside. Inside and outside means what? See, when you understand the pot is made of the walls of the pot, the walls of the pot create apparent division, and you say there is inside pot and outside pot. Imagine that pot is tied to a rope and you lower that pot inside a well. That pot is full of water now and it is inside the well also, inside the water, inside the well. Actually speaking, will you say that the water is inside the pot or pot is inside the water? The pot is inside the water, but it is also correct to say that the water is inside the pot. There is apparent division that is caused by the wall of the pot. After that apparent division is created, there is inside and there is outside. But strictly speaking, there is no such division in space. You can divide air, maybe you can put that air inside a container and you say this is a separate air. But space, how can you divide? But for convenience sake, we say pot space, room space, space in Calcutta and space in America, like that you can divide and say. But it has no meaning in its real sense of the word term. This apparent wall of the pot can be equated to your antakarana or your inner personality, your subtle body. Once subtle body is there, there is something inside and something outside. But something inside, something outside, all that is pervaded by the self. Just as you draw a circle here in the board and then you say what is inside the circle, board is there. What is outside the circle, board is there. Board pervades both inside and outside the circle. But when did the board come inside the circle? You cannot ask that question. Because board did not come inside the circle. Circle came inside the board. On the board, circle came. Once it came, you can say inside and outside. It is like that it is. Antakarana makes it inside and outside. But truly speaking, what pervades inside and outside is the Supreme Self only. So, the self appears limited, but it is not limited. Space appears limited, but it is not limited. These are the points of comparison. That space is all pervasive, self is all pervasive. Apparent division is created, but it is not limited, it is unlimited. And thirdly, continuation of that is, though space houses everything, it is not contaminated by anything. Exactly like that. Though everything is in the self, self remains pure as it is. It is not contaminated by anything that it houses. Aham akashavat sarvam bahirantargatochyuta. I am there everywhere, inside, outside. Achyuta. Yes, sir.
Please move on. Does it have a connection with Poornam Adah, Poornam?
You can say Poornam is infinite. That which is, but the context there is different. That's all it is. But Poornam is the infinite state.
The subtle body, does it have boundaries?
Subtle body has boundaries, yes.
It is within the body.
Yes, it is, in the sense the locus is within the body, though you cannot strictly draw a line to it, but it is limited in the sense only when it is limited you can exhaust them also. So it acts like that mirror which has boundaries, but within the mirror you see like an infinite world. Within the mirror you see sun is there, moon is there, and exactly the same world that is there, the person inside the mirror can experience. But the mirror is actually 8 inch by 6 inch or something like that. Like that, your subtle body, which is made up of your desires, thoughts and other things, as far as you are concerned, it is limited. It cannot be unlimited or infinite, even the vasanas, because if it is infinite, then you can never ever cross over the ignorance. It appears to be big because of its closeness to us. The cloud is limited, sun is unlimited in this example. But the cloud covers the sun. Why? Because cloud is closer to us. Exactly like that, the mind covers the self and it appears to be big or bigger than the self. It is not so. It is limited. Good question. So, like space, I am there pervading inside and outside. Achyutaha. Achyutaha means never fallen. Never fallen means you take that example of a waker. When he is sleeping, he gets into a dream. So it is as though he has lost his original personality and come into the dream. But in truth, has he lost his original personality? No. He is still breathing, he is digesting the food, he is doing all that. It is just that for a moment he is sleeping, that's all. He seems to have forgotten his personality, but he has not really forgotten. So even though you are experiencing dream, the waker that you are has not lost his personality. He has not fallen. Like that, it is not fallen. This concept is the basis for understanding what is peculiarly in Hinduism known as avatara. Avatara means one who has come down. When he has come down, he has not left his original place. Like that, he is there as the supreme, but he seems to move along with us like us, but he is something different. That is not the context here. I am just saying what is the basis of that. Achyutaha means one who has never fallen. So I have never ever fallen. If I have fallen from my state of infinity, I will not be doing all the infinite things that I am doing now. But the fact is I am doing all the infinite things now proves that I am infinity. I have never fallen from my original state. Sada sarva samaha. Always equal, same in all. Sarva samaha means same in all. It is like saying petrol is the same in all beings, all cars. Electricity is the same in all gadgets, always. The performance may differ based on the engine of the car. A Mercedes is a very powerful car and a Maruti may not be that powerful car. Similarly, Ram Tirtha or Vivekananda are very powerful personalities. You and I may not be that powerful. Somebody who is very dull is not that powerful. All this is differences based on mind and intellect, your engine. But as far as the self is concerned, Sada Sarva Samaha. Always same in all. Sada Sarva Samaha. Siddhaha. Siddhaha means accomplished, fulfilled. There is nothing more to achieve for me. I am like ocean. Gallons and gallons of water from the rivers can pour into me. It will not make 1% change in me. I am absolutely fulfilled, even with that water or without that water. That state is called as Siddhaha. Siddhaha means one who has accomplished, one who has fulfilled. That absolute state is called Siddha. So that is why sometimes self-realization is also understood in terms of Siddhi. Siddhi. Siddhi is just not powers. Siddhi is also used in this sense, in this absolute fulfillment. Nissangaha. Unattached. No sangha. No attachment. The body, mind and intellect can get attached to the perceptions, emotions and thoughts, but I have nothing to do with any of them. I stand as a separate witness, witnessing all these things. That is the state of Nissanga. Electricity is detached from the gadgets even though it makes the gadgets function. How do you say it is detached? Electricity produces heat in a heater, coolness in a refrigerator. It is not attached. It is neither attached to coolness nor attached to heat. But without electricity, you cannot produce either heat or cold. Like that it is. Similarly, the self in you is absolute detached witness. You can be a terrorist or you can be a saint. In both cases, you need the help of the self to perform the activities. But it is not participative to any activity. It is extremely detached, so you cannot bind the self with any of the effects of karma. Punya, papa, all these things are no. It is nissangaha. Nissangaha means always detached. Nirmala. Nirmala comes again, pure. Here again you can say that it is beyond all dirt and vasanas. It is the same word that is repeated here. whichever way you look at it. Couple of words may be given to have a more concentrated emphasis on our contemplation. That's about all. Achalaha. Achalaha is another way to say that it is motionless. It is stationary. It is unmoving. Swami Ramtirtha says that the body has inherent tamasiness. One reason is that it is made up of tamasic elements, tamasic aspect of the elements. But other thing he says is the all-pervading aspect of the self, you unconsciously put it in the body. So body is also motionless. Self is motionless. So you understand that this body is yourself and you unconsciously put that in this. So it remains like that. Achalaha means that which is motionless. Like space, I pervade everything, inside and outside. Never fallen, same in all. I am eternal, unattached, pure and motionless. We'll chant verse 36.
नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तैकम् अखण्डानन्दमाद्वयम् सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं यत् परं ब्रह्माहमेव तत्.
I am that Supreme Brahman alone, which is eternal, immaculate, liberated, one, unbroken bliss, non-dual, and truth, knowledge, infinity. Again, that assertion continues. As we said, in general, you can say 31, 32, and 33 negates the material words, body, and all the panchakoshas. 34, 35, and 36 assert that I am the self. And assertion is using the pointers which are the closest, you can say, definitions of the self. And it takes you as close as possible. If you are able to visualize that with reference to all these pointers, you cannot miss it. You have to go closer and closer to it. So here he says, Nitya. Again, this term Nitya is used as eternal. Or you can use the term with the other second term continuously, Nitya Shuddha. Nitya Shuddha means it is always Shuddha, always immaculate, always pure. In other words, it is not for a momentary, even if you say just like that, you are born in the human body and then you are realized later, till that time at least it has gone through. No. In and through all, it remains as it is in its pure state only. It can never be contaminated. It is always Shuddha, pure. Nothing means nothing else can contaminate it. It is ever pure. Vimukta. Nitya Shuddha Vimukta. Mukta means freed. Vimukta means well freed. Absolutely free. There is this person who has, see, a couple of verses back, there was this term used as Nitya Mukta. Nitya Mukta in verse 34 denoted the state of self which is ever free. Now he says Vimukta, well freed. So it is to be understood only from two different angles. From the point of view of the self as it is, from its original standpoint, it is always free. It is never bound at all. No chance of binding it. So it is Nitya Mukta. From the point of view of the individual now who has realized the self, he is Vimukta. He is Vimukta means he can never ever fall back into that limitation again. Completely free, absolutely free. So Mukta means free, Vimukta is well free. Nitya Mukta. Nitya Shuddha Vimukta Ekam. Ekam means one. One is a very beautiful term. It has not. Again in the next line he says Advayam. Wherever Ekam is there, mostly it will be followed by the term Advayam. Ekam is also one, Advayam is also one. Advayam means non-dual. Why is this given like that usually? Yes, in a way. So the moment you say one, you consider it very big. You consider it very large, but still one may have a picture of a boundary. To correct that misconception, he says there is nothing other than this one. So he says it is Advayam also. Ekam Advayam. Akhanda Anandam. Akhanda Anandam means unbroken bliss. So from the point of view of the experience of a person, all of us which we look for bliss and we do experience bliss, all that we experience is Khanda Ananda. Khanda means broken bliss. Broken bliss means every happiness that we experience does end in a sorrow. Every sorrow then again gives birth to future happiness. So there is a cycle. This is like when a person is sitting under a shade of a tree, it is well covered in shadow. If you want sunlight, because it's cool, when a breeze is there, the leaves move here or there and the sunlight passes through that leaves. But before you realize that, again the leaves cover it up. Like that is our bliss in the world. Before you even experience and realize the happiness that you are having, it is covered by other worries and anxieties and sorrow. So, what is the bliss of then the self-realization? Self-realization is called as Akhanda Anandam. There is no Khanda. There is no break. It's a one continuous form of bliss. It is something different in kind. All the bliss that you enjoy with reference to sense pleasure, emotional pleasure and various forms of pleasure are pleasures which are different in degree. One is better than the other. All these pleasures can be defined by the term, you can say, cessation of agitation. When agitation ceases and mind goes to the equanimous state as close to it as possible, you call it bliss. So, a person who is experiencing great happiness in the world is actually very, very less sorrowful. That's all it means. All of us are having sorrow. When a person is having least sorrow, he is most happy. And when a person is very agitated, he is more sorrowful. Like that it is. These are all differing in degree. But Ananda is something different. That is why the term Sukha is different and Ananda is different. Sukha has an opposite called Dukkha. Ananda has no opposite. Ananda is the Swarupa. Swarupa means that's your original state. That Ananda is also indicated by the term Ananta. So which he says, which is a Vakya that is coming in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which we'll take it up in the next class. And a happy Ganesha Chaturthi.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.